Good morning, students. I hope so. Everyone is good and everyone is fine. So, in the previous lecture, we have started off with this new chapter that is Outcomes of Democracy. So, this is your lecture 2 from this particular chapter, which is from the subject Civics. So, let us just have a recap whatever we have studied in lecture number 1. So, in lecture number 1, we have discussed about what does this chapter is all about. Basically, the outcomes, the consequences a democracy policy gave us or a democratic government gave us, it's all about that. And on what basis we can assess to this outcomes of democracy it is divided into three categories, that is political outcomes, social outcomes and economic outcomes. Then we have discussed why democracy is better form of government than any other form of government. We have discussed that and we have discussed few points related to that. Then we have discussed about the political outcomes based on accountable, responsive and legitimate government. In today's lecture, we are going to move forward and discuss about the economic outcomes. So the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture will be topics to be covered. So today the topics that we are going to cover will be the economic outcomes. What are the possible economic outcomes that is coming out from the democratic government and the democracy policies that we are applying into our country. So the categories that are divided into our on the which we are going to assess and going to judge is the economic growth of our country, how it is helping out because of this democracy policy. Then about the economic development. Is it helping us in the economic development or not? Then the reduction in inequality of poverty. So basically it is helping in the reduction of inequality that is happening in our society and it is helping in reducing the poverty rate or not. So these are the few of the economic outcome zones that we are going to study about. Then I will let you know about some homework solutions that I have given you in the previous lecture. The questions that I have given you, I will let you know the solution and few homework questions that I am going to assign you in this particular lecture. So these will be the things that will be covering in this particular lecture. So please be ready with your book, your notebook and one pen in your hand so that we can start off with this lecture. So I hope so everyone is ready. We can start with the lecture. So first of all, I'm just going to give you a quick recap and give you some notes about the political outcomes first of all. We have just discussed about what does this accountable government do or responsive government do or legitimate government do. Now what are they are about? Basically, if you have to make notes about these particular outcomes, there are three things that you should know. What basically people expect from us, what are basically they are expecting, what is there in their head, what they're expecting that people, the government policy should give them. So there are certain norms on which they are basically expecting us to be present. Then there is certain contradictions that is there in their head that what they are expecting it is not fulfilling as per their wish. So they are having their own contradiction about these democracy policies. There is some issues, a problem, some contradiction that is there in their head, and we will discuss that what contradiction they are having according to these different types of government. Then we'll discuss about the justification that the democracy policy has given them back about why they are not particularly completely acceptable what these people are expecting them to. Means that they will justify their actions why they are not that efficient enough or why they are not properly able to do those things what they are expecting that government policy to do for them. So we'll start with that. First we'll discuss about what accountable government basically do. So you can write down these notes as well. They are very easy and very much to the point things. You can write it down as well. First of all, what does a government, accountable government do? Basically, an accountable government is answerable to its citizens. Basically, what an accountable government do? They have to answer back to everyone's queries, everyone's whatever things that they are actually asking them to. There should be some person who is going to answerable to all the citizens for whatever actions they are going to do or imply. So it is responsible for the decisions it makes on behalf of the citizens. So basically the people out there, they are selecting their representatives and they want a complete transparency, transparency means that everything should be there, clear head in front of them, that whatever decisions you are making, they should know about it. Whatever laws you are applying, they should know about it. So there should be some people who are basically going to answer all their queries in behalf of them. So people have the right to choose their representatives and control them. So the people have actually the right to choose their representatives and control them according to them, because they are electing them in some way or the other. It is their expectations that they think that whichever person they are electing or their representatives are there, they have the right to control them as well. So the citizens have the right and they have the means to examine the process of this decision making. Mostly they know this particular system as mechanism of transparency. I just told you what does transparency means, where there is no beyond things. There should be clear cut things in front of them, that whatever actions they are doing, they should be clear to them. If they are, that whatever decision they are making, they should be a part of it. Whatever laws they are applying, they should know each and everything. So there should be a complete transparency between the democratic representatives and the citizens. There should no like any kind of barrier between the communication system. It should be very transparent. So the citizens have the right and the means to examine this particular process of decision making, which is known as mechanism of transparency. Now the practices and institutions like regular, free and fair elections and open public debate here. So basically what they do, they practice mostly regular, free and fair elections for the public, and they open public debate too, where the citizens can open up their views, where people can tell about what their expectations are from the government. So they practice all these things. Citizens have the right to information about the government and its functioning. They actually have the right of all the information that the government is going to do and whatever the functioning they are going to apply in the law particular system. So in accountable government, people want to involve in every decision that they are going to make, and in everywhere they want to be a part of it. They need that there should be person who should give them the information, or who is going to be answerable to whatever actions that they are going to take. So this is what accountable government do. Now what does the contradiction that is there with this particular government is that, like, people are expecting, now what is not working for them in people's head is that democracy produces a very less effective government. Means they are not that much efficient while making these decisions, and they are not that effective while taking these decisions. Their decisions are not like proper. They are not whatever they have expected, it is not completely what they have expected it to. So that's why it produces a very less effective government in their head. Now in democracy, decisions are delayed. So they think that the democracy policy, the democratic government take a lot of time in taking the decisions. So that's why the decisions are delayed in their, and it is not like working out from that. That's a contradiction that is there in their head about this accountable government, that decisions are delayed. Now what is the justification that they have given to them is that some people think that democracy produces a less effective government. Like, they think that it is there in their head that democracy produces a very less effective government. Other forms of government do not have to think about majority opinions and deliberations. If you think about that democracy is a less effective government, think about the persons who are ruling with a non-democratic government. In non-democratic government, they are just taking the decisions vaguely. They don't even think about the consequences. They can take the decision quickly with no time, but what would be the consequence of those decisions, they don't even think about it. Here they think about the majority opinions and deliberations, they negotiate them, and then they apply those particular decisions on people. So here, if they are taking time, they are taking time for some good reason. So they have to, in democracy, they keep everything, both the things in mind about the majority opinions and about the deliberation too. So that's why there is born to take some time, and they are born to take some delay. They are going to be there in the decision making body. So democracy is based on the idea of deliberation and negotiation. So that's why there will be some delay is bound to take place, and decision may be both more acceptable and more effective here. So there will be some, I just told you that there will be some delay in bond to take place when they are making a decision, because they are having the idea of deliberation negotiation in every decision making body. So that's why it is bond that they have expected. It will be more acceptable and more effective if they think about each and every aspect, जिसमें कॉन्फ्लिक्ट कम हो, जिसमें किसी को ज्यादा नुकसान ना हो, तब वो डिसीजन ज्यादा इफेक्टिव होंगे. अगर आप वेवली ऐसे डिसीजन मिल लो, क्विक डिसीजन ले लो और बाद में दे हैव टू फेस द प्रॉब्लम, वो बेटर है. सो दैट्स व्हाई दे हैव गिवन दिस जस्टिफिकेशन फॉर दिस अकाउंटेबल गवर्नमेंट. Then about the responsive government. Now in responsive government, what does it mean? That they are responsible and responsive to all the needs and expectations of the people. Now they are answerable. In this, they have to respond back to all the needs and expectations of the people. Means that they are going to promote the formation of public opinion and care about the public opinions too. What people think, what people want, what are the demands they have to fulfill of the people. So here they have to fulfill the demands, the needs of the people here. Whatever they are expecting, the government should do for them. So basically here they want that they should promote the formation of public opinion more. Whatever public are demanding, their like initiatives should be taken care, their opinion should be taken care more than any other's opinion. So they're basically promoting and formatting the public opinion and care only about the public opinion, what in responsive government they want from them. So this democracy is attentive to all the needs and demands of the people. So here they are demanding that the democracy should be attentive to all the needs and demands of the people, and they expect that a democratic government is largely should be free from corruption and often should be sensitive to every kind of people out there. So it is expected, and it is a good thing that they are expecting a democratic government from that. It should be largely free from corruption and often very should be sensitive to the people. But mostly it is not. Like we have seen it also in the society. That democratic government is not entirely free from corruption, and they are mostly not sensitive towards every kind of people in the society. So that's why they come with the contradictions. What are the contradictions that they face is that, first, that most democracies fell short of elections that provide a fair chance to everyone and in every decision to public debate. So they think that these democratic bodies and these democracies, they think that they fell short in elections. Like everyone is not getting equal opportunities when when they are holding these elections. Everyone is not having the equal opportunities. Their fair elections are not holding according to them, and like in every decision they are making or public debate, everyone public opinions are not considered properly. They think that only a majority of communities there that their opinions are taking them, and less minority communities opinion they are not taking. So they think that they fell short of elections that they provide a fair chance to everyone and in every decision to public debate. So they think that the in democratic government listen to only some people's opinion and they reject the other people's opinion. So that they are little biased in their head. They are little biased. But this democratic government do not have a very good record regarding sharing of information. So they also think that in democratic government, they do not have a good record in sharing of information. Like whatever decision they are making, whatever people opinions are coming to them, they are not sharing the proper information with people. So that is also one of the contradiction that is there in people said that they don't share the information or they don't have a proper record of that. Now, what is the justification that the democratic government has given them back is that all one can say is that democracies have had greater success in setting up regular and free elections. Thus, it is much better than any non-democratic regime in these respects. So they say that if you like question our policy on the free and fair election system, still it is they have seen a greater success in over the period of time. Like पहले जो इलेक्शंस होते थे उसमें इतने लोग पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करते, but now the number is increasing. So these democracies have seen a great success in setting up of these regular and free elections at every time possible. The numbers are also increasing. So they say that the numbers are increasing, the change is there. It could be slow, but the change is there. If you can't see it properly, it's you that is one of the things that they are justifying, that they are setting up the things, they have seen a success rate. So they are justifying their statement that it is much better than any non-democratic regime in this respect, that in that particular situation you are not even allowed to take or held these regular elections. At least in democracy, we are giving you that particular thing. Now the third one is legitimate government. Here what the legislative government is about, that a democratic government is a legitimate government only. एक जो डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट होती है जहां पे आप सारी चीज सिटीजन के लिए करते हो, दैट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज लेजिस्लेटिव गवर्नमेंट, एज इट ऑल्सो इलेक्टेड बाय सिटीजन्स and enjoys the confidence and trust of all the citizens at that particular time. So the government can be accountable by framing and developing various laws and policies in which citizens can hold the government responsible if any of those policies and laws are not implemented against the welfare of the citizens. So here they are saying that the government can be accountable by framing and developing these various laws and policies. But here the citizens do not have that particular power. They can hold the government responsible if any of these policies and laws are not implemented against the welfare of the citizens. So democracy is the government of the people, and the majority part of or group of political parties forms this particular government. So here the citizens are the one who are basically leading all the things. They are the one who is holding these like helping out in framing of and developing these various laws and policies according to them. But here they think that these policies are not implemented as per what they have looked forward to. So what are the contradictions that this legitimate government faces? So the contradiction that they are facing is that democracies often frustrate the needs of the people and often ignore the demands of the majority of its population. So the contradiction these people are having is that these democracies sometimes they don't even listen to the needs of the people and they ignore the demands of the majority of the population. So they think that कि कुछ कुछ माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज को वो अपना एक वो चीजें दे देते हैं और जो मेजॉरिटी है उसको छोड़ देते हैं. तो वो सोचते हैं कि वो लोग वो हमारी बात नहीं सुनना चाहते, हमारे नीड्स को पूरा नहीं करना चाहते. दैट इज देयर इन द हेड दैट द नीड्स ऑफ द पीपल एंड दे इग्नोर द डिमांड्स ऑफ द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ इट्स पॉपुलेशन. And there are routine tales of corruption which convince us that democracy is not a clean and responsive government. So it is there. I cannot say that it is not there. It is there. It is a kind of a contradiction, and that is somewhere true also, that there are some sort of corruption that is there in our democracy system, which is not proper, clean, and they are not a proper responsive government towards the citizens when it comes to proper and clean elections should be there, or proper scamming should be there. It is not there. But the justification that these democratic government are given to them is that democracy may be slow, less efficient, not always responsive and clean, but it is people's own government. So they are given the justification for that is that they are accepting all these things, that our democracy could be slow, it could be less effective or efficient, but it is not, and it could not be always responsive and clean, but it's people's own government. You are the one who have elected them. You are the one who has given them chance to be the representative. Like for example, the evidence of South Asian democratic regimes shows that democracy is a suitable government. Like we are following a multi-party system. We are giving the chance to everyone to come up with their party and basically lead to whatever kind of government they want to be elected from. So they are giving the chance. They are giving them all these things to. But we are the one who are not utilizing that particular power properly. So it's not the democracy fault. It's the fault of the public opinion, citizens, that they are not properly electing like their representatives who could basically like deal with their problems properly. So they are correct in their sense that they have seen a very suitable government than any other form of government can be facing. Like in one party system or in two party system, they don't have much, they are not giving much chances to each and every person. But here, at least they are giving the chances to people so that they can also participate and win the elections. Now we are moving to the main topic, that is the economic growth and development. Here we'll discuss about what this topic is all about, and I will let you know about all these things in the next lecture, that what are the basic contradictions and justification these economic outcomes are having. First of all, let us discuss about what does economic growth and development means. Like if democracies are expected to produce good government, then it is not fair to expect that they would also produce development. See, the first question that arises in economic growth and development is that if democracies are expected to produce good government, then it is not fair to expect that it would also produce development as well. आप उनसे उम्मीद लगा रहे हो कि वो आपको एक अच्छी गवर्नमेंट दे और उसके साथ साथ में आपको ये भी चाहिए उसके साथ साथ प्रॉपर डेवलपमेंट भी हो. अब हर एक चीज को वर्क होने में बहुत टाइम लगता है. इसी छोटी सी चीज की डेवलपमेंट में इट टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. So evidence show that in practice many democracies did not fulfill this expectation. If you consider all democracies and all dictatorships for the 50 years between 1950 and 2000, dictatorships have slightly higher rate of economic growth. So they have seen the growth, but very slowly and steadily they have seen that particular growth. And people think that our economy has not developed at all. But it is not there. If you have seen the records from the previous time till now, in the last 50 years, if we have seen it, अगर हम dictatorship की बात करें, वहाँ पे there will be chances of higher rate of economic growth, but the inability of democracy to achieve higher economic development worries us. But this alone cannot be the reason to reject democracy. अगर हम dictatorship की बात करें, तो उन्होंने there could be possibility of good rate of economic growth and development, but there are more chances that side by side with democracy they cannot work properly with them. अगर आप सबको opportunities देने लग जाओगे, and there will be chances of contradictions. We'll see further what are the contradictions that we'll be having. As we have already studied in economics, that the economic development depends on several factors. See, basically every economic development depends on several factors. The first is country's population size, and India is held a lot more population than any other country is having. They are having the third largest population size in the entire world. So basically we are having a lot of population. Then global situation also matter. So we are under the under development country. Like it is not a developed country, we are under development country. So in that it is going to take a time. So our global situation is very much a worry kind of a thing for our country. Then the cooperation from other countries. Now what relations we are having with other countries also have a major thing here, and it depends on this particular factor as well. Then economic priorities adopted by the country. What are the priorities that they are having? What are the priorities that they have adopted by this particular country? It matters here. So however, the difference in the rates of economic development between less developed countries with dictatorship and democracies is negligible. अगर हम comparison भी करें in both the situations, the rate would be different. But आपका अगर development अगर हम देखा जाए, economic development और political development साथ साथ में अगर हो रहा है, with democracies they are working out properly, then it is a favorable thing. If it is less effective but economic growth is good, so उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है, because there will be conflicts in the future, and it is eventually going to be a default for your own country only. Like overall, we cannot say that democracy is a guarantee of economic development. A democracy cannot guarantee that in economic development that they can give the equal result for economic growth and development. But if we expect democracy not to lag behind dictatorship in this respect, we will fail that. When we find such significant differences in the rates of economic growth between countries under dictatorship and democracy, it is better to prefer democracy as it has several other positive outcomes as well. If we compare, I just told you that if we compare with dictatorship and democracy in economic rate and economic growth, it is going to be a slightly higher in dictatorship than democracy, but it is better to prefer democracy. Why? Because it has several other positive outcomes as well. Now, what are those positive outcomes that they are having is that uh, first of all, wait a second. What are the positive outcomes that they are having is that they cannot be the reason to reject democracy, as when we have such significant differences in the growth rate, it's better to prefer democracy with that, because democracy, how they are having the positive outcomes, I have discussed in the starting only, that they promotes equality and they promotes methods to resolve conflicts, enhances the dignity of the individual and allows the room to correct mistakes. Every point you can. So these are the positive outcomes they are having, which dictatorship doesn't have. So that's why we can prefer democracy in economic growth, for economic growth and development as well. Now another main topic here is that reduction of inequality and poverty. So it is expected from democracies that they should reduce economic disparities. Basically, perhaps more than development, it is reasonable to expect democracy to reduce economic disparities if you are giving equal opportunities to everyone, you are giving them job opportunities, you are giving them the proper significant variations in the economic growth. They have like it basically can provide and reduce economic disparities. How? Even when a country achieves economic growth, will wealth be distributed in such a way that all citizens of the country will have a share and lead a better life. Like if our country is having a मतलब आपका जो total GDP बनता है, now you're distributing that particular wealth in a way that all the citizens of the country could be benefit with that. If you share it properly, that could be that have a possibility to lead a better life. Like, is economic growth in democracy accompanied by increased inequalities among the people, or do democracies lead to just a distribution of goods and opportunities? See, basically, in democracy, they think that if you have to have a good economic growth, there should be accompanied by increasing inequality should be less, so that people can get equal opportunities. The distribution of goods and opportunities should be equal and not biased towards the citizens. That's why democracy work here. In dictatorship, if you will be there will be bias towards something, so there will be inequality, there will be chances of poverty. But in democracies, in democratic government, they are always leading to a distribution of goods and opportunities here. So these democracies are basically based on political equality. In dictatorship, it is not there, but in democracy, they are based on the political equality only. So all individuals have equal weight in electing representatives, which is parallel to the process of bringing individuals into the political arena. On an equal footing, we find growing economic equalities. So a small number of ultra-rich enjoy a higher appropriate share of wealth and income. So अगर हम बाकी किसी कंट्री की बात करें, अगर वहां पे डेमोक्रेसी पॉलिसी नहीं है and they are unevenly they are distributing the wealth, so if it is not parallel, the process is basically this process is bringing the individuals into the political arena so that they could have the equal footing, they can have the equal economic growth, and they can basically help to reduce the economic inequality. So a small number of ultra rich enjoy a highly disproportionate share and wealth and income. Not only that, their share in the total income of the country has been increasing. अब देखा जाए हमारी कंट्री में सिचुएशन यही है कि जो रिच वाले लोग हैं उनके पास दे आर अर्निंग अ लॉट मोर, और जो पुअर है उनके पास कुछ है ही नहीं. सो दिस जो ये अनइक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वेल्थ है, इसकी वजह से जो अल्ट्रा रिच है दे आर एंजॉइंग अ हाईली डिसिप्लिन्ड शेयर ऑफ द वेल्थ एंड इनकम, and this share in the total income of the country has been increasing by them only. Those at the bottom of the society have very little to depend upon. So their income have been declining because of these uneven distribution of wealth. So sometimes they find it difficult to meet even their basic need of life like such as food, clothing, house, education, and health. So this is the inequality that India is mostly facing today. That most of the people, they are not even having the basic need. They can't even fulfill their basic needs. That is food, clothing, house, education, and health. Like in actual life, democracy do not appear to be very successful in reducing this economic inequality. If we talk about facts, this democracy do not appear to be very successful in reducing this economic inequality. Like in class 9th economics textbook, you have already studied about poverty in India. The poor constitution, a large proportion of our voters and no party will like to lose their votes, yet democratically elected governments do not appear to be as keen to address the questions of poverty as you would expect them to. So the situation is much worse in some other countries too. Like in Bangladesh, more than half of its population lives in poverty. People in several poor countries are now dependent on the rich countries even for food supplies as well. So this is whole for today, like as a lecture. So we discussed about the economic outcomes, and I have given you the notes for accountable, responsive, and legitimate government. You can write those notes. So in the next lecture we'll discuss about the contradiction that the economic outcomes are facing and the justification that the government have given them. I will let you know about all the notes. I will give you all the notes here only. Now about the homework solution. So I have given you 2 questions tomorrow about how democracy is better than any other form of government. So here you can write down these points. A democratic government is a better government because it is more accountable form of government, because democracy improves the quality of decision making. Democracy provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts, and democracy allows people to correct their own mistakes. It is an accountable and legitimate form of the government. It promotes equality among citizens and it enhances the dignity of the citizens. So these are the points that from these points you can write down your answers as well. Now answer number 2, examine the political outcomes of the democracy. So people have the right to choose their rulers and they have control over their rulers. So citizens can participate in decision making. Thus democracy produces a government that is accountable to the citizens and responsive to the needs and expectations of the citizens. So democracy ensures that decision making is based on norms and procedures. So a citizen who wants to know if a decision was taken through the correct procedure can find out this information, and citizens can take part in decision making whenever they want. A democratic government is the people's own government and people wish to be ruled by representatives elected by them. The homework for today is you have to do these 2 questions that discuss the economic outcomes of democracy, and question 2, explain the role of democratic governments in reducing economic disparities. Now these are the 2 questions that you have to do as homework. So, and for any queries, any doubt, any topic that you are not able to understand, please let me know in the online class or in the school as well. You can let me know who are coming to school and who are watching these videos. You can let me know in school as well. So that's it for today's lecture. I hope so you have understood all the topics that we have discussed today. Please make your notes, do the homework properly, and for your doubts you can let me know anytime in the online class and in school as well. Thank you so much for listening to this lecture, and please take care of yourself.